So hey everyone, in this episode we're going to have a quick look at the Castelli Alpha Jacket. So this is the 2016 model. It has been revised a little for 2017 and 18, but you know, that's always going to happen, and as I've commented before, Castelli have a fantastic job of just making a couple of tweaks. Sometimes all they do is change the colour, maybe a badge, sometimes rename it and then just release it. In this case though, the Alpha name has remained. They do a jersey and they also do a jacket, so just be mindful, make sure that you get the right one, because the jersey is a little thinner, or certainly a little lighter anyway. I bought this around about a year ago, so September of 2016. I didn't get an awful lot of use out of it to begin. I found during the kind of first few rides it was actually too warm, so just be mindful of that, because it's really warm. I wore this recently, went out in the snow, so you know, kind of hovering around minus, I guess, not working up too much of a sweat because of taking my time. But it's nice and bright as well, which is another thing that I like about it. I would say this is probably the best piece of Castelli kit that I've owned, and I'll go through kind of all the details and why I actually think that. It's also probably the most expensive bit of Castelli kit that I own as well. This retails around about £250, which is a huge amount for a jacket. Now I didn't pay that for it because I had some kind of discount, or possibly even used a voucher that somebody bought me. But yeah, it's significant. This is not something that you'll just, yeah, I'll buy two of these. Well, some people might, but I'm not going to be one of them. But the way that it's built up is, so it has this windstopper fabric on the front. That's pretty much what you can see with red. So it does a great job of stopping that initial kind of cold blast hitting you on the front of the bike. And then at the rear, you've kind of got a bit more of the same, but you've also got these kind of air flaps as well, to try and help out with the breathability. It does a pretty good job with showers. It's not fully waterproof as you would expect. It's almost like Gabba type material, but not. I'd say the Gabba is more water resistant than this. And that's certainly how Castelli actually, you know, kind of badge it up and I guess market it. Got three nice deep pockets here on the back. They're not the widest, but they are pretty deep, and you also get, you know, a bit of a storm flap here as well. The thing that I really like about this is the way that it, let's just get that out of the way. The thing that I really like about this is this detailing here. So this is basically, it says Castelli, but it's that kind of tape, that sticky tape, and it does a really good job of actually sticking to your bibs. So it's not flapping around, it is actually doing a pretty good job of, I guess, keeping the warmth in. You've got a nice little zip pocket here as well, and also one on the front. So it's fantastic for storing and carrying. The zip cover here on the front as well, pretty thick, always covers, and it's got a really nice high collar on it as well, which is even higher at the back with this almost like fleece type material that goes up at the back of the neck. So it does a fantastic job of keeping you warm and keeping you dry to an extent. Just going back to what I was saying before though, first few rides that I wore this, I overheated, and I was really uncomfortable. So I now don't use this jacket until probably, obviously weather permitting, but it probably doesn't come out now until at least November. Otherwise, you know, if it's kind of early autumn or even early part of spring, then I would go to probably a thicker jersey, because this really is too warm. And in terms of what else actually featured in the jacket is this extra layer. So I've just undone that zip, which is kind of the outer part of the jacket. You've then got this thermal layer on the inside. Thing I like about this as well is it also has its own zip. So if you are starting to get a little bit warm, then you can just drop this down, even if you want the outer, you know, fully zipped up. In terms of sizing, I think Castelli is pretty well known for coming up short, coming up small. This is definitely the case with this. I think because it's so fitted, and actually you need it to be fitted in order for it to work as Castelli intended. So this is a size medium. I think if it was a bit more of a relaxed fit, then I could get away with a small. So I'm 6'2", hover kind of between 76, 78 kilos. So not the smallest guy in the world, but yeah, in terms of height, 6'2", fairly lean. It fits me perfectly. You just have to be careful not to eat too much during the winter, otherwise it becomes incredibly tight. So what else can I say about this? I think it's a fantastic bit of kit. It's certainly up there with the Gabba, I think, in terms of, you know, some quality kit that Castelli actually make. Some of it I've not been overly impressed with, but this I definitely have been. You'll see all the zips are taped. I've never ever been cold in this, and I've been out in the snow most recently, and this is what I had on, and I just can't fault it. Between, you know, the detailing as far as the gripper, tape around the zips, this extra thermal layer as well that you can adjust, how tight the cuffs are, you know, to stop the drafts from going up your arms, and that high collar at the back. This thing really is going to keep you warm. The promo video that Castelli put together a couple of years ago, or what, about 18 months ago, certainly during the release of this jacket, there was a guy climbing up some, I don't know, maybe the Alps or something, surrounded by snow. I thought that was probably just some very clever marketing, but yeah, I haven't been up any Alps, but I have been out in all weathers, never been cold, really expensive, so you know, you're probably going to want to think twice about this, whether or not you're going to blow the money, but if you do, you won't be disappointed, especially if you live in a pretty cold climate. So any comments or questions, drop them in the section below. Otherwise, please like and subscribe if you would like to see more. Thanks for watching.